Hello, it's Helen from Journal with Purpose and welcome to my latest video. Today I'm going to be creating a spread in my standard size Traveller's Notebook insert, and this one has Tomo River paper in it, and I keep it inside this vintage-like cover from Start Bay Notebooks. I was really tempted. I was going to do something in my craft paper TN this morning. I've had this for ages and still not finished it, but maybe I'll do something with that in one of my future videos. I think I've had it since 2018 or 2019, a long time. Yeah, 2018, and I do work on it from time to time. And one day I really want to get that insert finished, and actually I really enjoy it, so I don't know why I put it off so much. But so the insert will be this one that I'm working in, and I thought today I'd do a little bit of sketching and painting on my journal pages. To help give me a flatter surface, I'm going to use this underlay board and just clip that under there. And that really helps if you're using an insert with quite thin paper that starts to bulk up a bit over time. It won't help me with what's on the back of that page, but it will even out some of the lumps and bumps underneath. And I've decided I'm going to sketch a dahlia on here. And I was going to do it in pencil first, but I've decided I just want to relax and go with it today. And it's kind of a reminder for me as well. It's my journal, it's not something that has to be professional looking, and I just want to have fun with it. So I'm going to start off by using my Sakura Pigma Micron pens, and these are waterproof, which is absolutely perfect if you're thinking of adding any kind of wet medium over the top. So I'm going to start off with the 02 nib, and I think I want my dahlia taking up quite a lot of the space on this page, perhaps with the flower head here-ish. So I'm going to have it from the side and draw some of the petals to get that bottom form of the shape in. I'm going to have some little leaves coming down the bottom. And then I'm going to just start building these petals up and coming again from kind of that center point and just building them up around and slowly. And so it's always a reminder for me as well that to just try not to take my journal too seriously, because otherwise it's going to stop me creating. It's, as it often is when I film first thing on a Monday morning, and I just want to get some, as long as it resembles a flower and I have fun with it, because at the moment I'm thinking about springtime. Those flowers are slowly starting to come up into bloom, and that's something I really want to have on my journal page. So I'm going to bring some different size petals coming in, and we're going to be able to go back and add lots of detail to them at the end once we've got the shape of that flower. So I'm quite happy with how that's looking, and now I want to start building up some petals around the outside and also just adding a nice long thin stem on my flower. So now I'll go back and add some of these petals at the top. I'm just going to add these in between the gaps. And now I'm going to add lots of details using the 01 nib. So just lots of light lines coming up from the bottom of each of the petals. And from having just done kind of quite a basic flower shape, I really think that starts to make a little bit of a difference to how that flower's looking at. It gives it a little bit more depth and interest. And one of the things I'm going to be doing is later on adding some stamping along the bottom so that this flower's kind of not quite so by itself. But I could have just done stamping, but I really wanted to have a hand-drawn element in here too. And then the final thing I'm going to do is just add an extra line anywhere any of these petals are touching each other. In fact, I might go back, I think, to the 02 nib for this. So you've got kind of the look of the shading that one petal's kind of causing over the next one. And it just helps your drawing look a little bit less flat. So just anywhere where you've got two petals right next to each other. And I'm going to finish off with just a few little lines coming down at these leaves at the bottom. And I'm now much happier with that. I think it's given a lot more interest to that flower. So next thing I'm going to do is mix up some watercolor paint. The paints I'm going to be using are the Kuretake Gansai Tambi range. And Dahlias come in lots of beautiful colours, but I think I'm going to go for a blue flower today. I'm going to mix two colours up in advance because I want those colours to be able to run into each other. And I don't need loads of paint because my flowers are not particularly big. As you can see, this one here, this kind of turquoisey blue, number 62, it's one of my favourite paints. I'm running low on it, but I do have some spares. And then I'm going to have just a little bit of a darker blue to be able to add at the bottom of the flower. So this one I'm mixing with quite a lot of water. And then the deeper blue, I'll probably make sure that the pigment, it has more of the pigment than water in it. And while I'm here, I'm just going to mix up a little bit of some green paint for the stem as well. The paintbrush that I'm using is an Escoda paintbrush with a size 4 brush. And I'm going to start with this really lovely watery blue. And I'm just going to add that all over the flower. And I'm starting at the tips because it's the base of the flower that I want to still be wet when I add that deeper blue in. And if I started with the base, that might be just a little bit too dry by the time I get to it. And Tomo River paper in this insert is really thin, but it does hold up well to watercolor. It will go crinkly, but I absolutely love that look. Okay, so we're nearly there. And this is where I'm going to just drop a little bit of that blue, the darker blue, around the bottom and possibly just towards kind of some of the overlap of those other petals as well. It just gives it, again, a slightly more interesting look in the same way we added the detail with the fine lines with the pen. I'm just going to dry this off quickly before I add the green to the leaves and the stem. Okay, that's now dry. I've made sure certainly around the base of the flower is nice and dry. If I'm picking something like a kind of main focal point for my journal pages, the colours that I use for that tend to help me pick the colours for the rest of the spread, because now when I'm looking through my supplies for what other decorations I want to add, I know that I'm going to be probably mainly looking for some elements that have got perhaps mainly blues but also some green in there as well. And then before I give all of that one final dry off, I'm just going to add a few splashes of blue kind of over my journal pages as well, just to help tie them in a little bit together. I've had a quick look through my washi tapes, and both of these are from London Gifties, and I thought that some of these blues and the greens would go really well with this spread. So the first thing I'm going to do is add some blue washi along the side. I'm going to try to make sure that I don't overlap where that flower is. So I can always trim it off if it goes over the edge of the page, which I think it will just slightly. And then I'm going to add another strip along this side too. Okay, and I'm then just going to trim off those edges. And I mentioned I was going to add some stamping so that a flower's not by itself, and I've got these stamps. They're part of the Stampers Anonymous Tim Holtz collection, and it's the mini bouquet stamps. I thought it'd be quite interesting to add some strong contrast in black ink, so I'm going to use some black Stays On ink and just add some stamping, I think right along the bottom of both pages, so we've just got one strong element standing out. So I'm nearly done with that now, and you can see that I've just tried to vary the height of the stamping. And I really like that. Actually, for me that almost symbolises Kind of that feeling when you're coming out of winter, everything looks a little bit dark and grey, and then you just start to see some beautiful blooms come out. So I'm really happy with how that's looking. And I think the next thing I might do is add a quote on here using some stickers. This is the Small Talk sticker book from Tim Holtz. And again, I might actually go for some of the black ones again, just to add a little bit to that boldness. You can see I've used lots of these over the years. Okay, and I really like that one that says, "Be brave with your life." I think I might, just have that down there going over the bottom of the stem. And now I want to add a little bit more blue back onto this page. So I'm going to just have a look through this roll of tape. And actually I think it would be quite nice to have a few of these. And this tape's actually got a paper backing on it, so I'm going to cut out the elements that I want to use, and then you can just peel the backing off and use them like stickers. I think I'll put one over here on the left-hand page. I was going to cut off those stars, but again, actually, I think that ties in really nicely, almost like you're looking kind of at a night garden with just one beautiful dahlia poking out of the top. And I might separate these little butterflies. I'm just going to add these. I often get asked whether I have a plan before starting my journal page, and the only thing that I had planned is I knew I wanted to paint a dahlia, and as I started to look at it, I thought it was looking a bit kind of alone by itself, so it would be nice to have some stamping along the bottom, and then the rest of it really just grew out from there. Okay, so I'm really happy with that, and then the next part is just going to be to add my journal writing. And if you're ever stuck for ideas or things to write about, I typically just tend to write about what's going on in the world around me and how I'm feeling. But in my newest book, in each of the chapters, at the end of them, there's some journal writing prompts as well. So it's always worth a look through. If you're feeling a little bit stuck, is just have a quick look through and find a writing prompt that feels right for you for that day. So things like, are you feeling good about yourself? What are your hopes for tomorrow? Would you say that today went to plan? Is there anything worrying you? So it just can act as kind of a little bit of a springboard to get you thinking. For my writing, I'm going to be using a Tombow Fudenosuke brush pen with a firm nib for my date, and then a black Muji gel pen with a 0.38 nib for the rest of my journal writing. And as always, I'll try and leave links to all of the products I've used in the description box down below. is my journal pages all complete, and I really hope you've enjoyed seeing how those journal pages came together. If you decide to have a go anything similar and you're on Instagram, please do tag me in. I'd absolutely love to see your creations. As always, I want to say a massive thank you to everybody who's joined me over on Patreon. I hope you're all doing really well. Thank you ever so much for watching, and I look forward to speaking with you really soon in my next video.